your credibility's going. Don't hate somebody, just write about it. And in that, I will bring up the name of Beto O'Rourke.
Well, a nice real name, Robert Francis.
Listen, you guys better hope that Robert Francis Beto O'Rourke gets elected president. Guaranteed employment in this room for everybody for 4 years. You'll sell everything twice. I had a talk with somebody last night. We had a holy court over there in the lounge, which is where you should do the stuff like that. But if Beto hadn't said that, we'd have to invent him. Because he just gave everybody all the horsepower you need to demonstrate that the entire Democratic machine really believes that, because nobody else on that stage did a thing to refute what he said.
That's right.
The DNC has not come out yet and said, you know, Beto shouldn't have said that, because that's not really what we're all about. They've been dancing around here, but they haven't said, this guy's nuts.
Cheers.
A lot of them did. And pay attention to what O'Rourke says and what Joe Biden says. Does everybody remember the Joe Biden quote? Get a shotgun, get a double-barreled shotgun. Go out on your back porch and fire 2 rounds in the air. Yeah. Doesn't matter that you'll go to jail for that in about 20 states, but Biden said that, and it's there on the record. The video of that is still floating around all over the internet. That's the kind of thing that you can use to make your point and make it stick. That's your credibility, that's your attribution. Since there are no questions, I can I can stand down now, but I'm glad to be here. It's nice to see so many smiling faces in the room. Freddie's back right. I hope you don't fall asleep, Freddie. Am I boring yet?
I'm hearing every word.
Well, that's the end of my job at Ammcon then. He's heard every word. So, anyway, I'm going to turn the microphone back over to somebody who's far more intelligent than I am and better looking. So come on up. See, I got it right.
Thank you so much for all you do. It's so important, especially, like I said, I haven't been in this field for very long. I don't have a journalism degree. I was just a citizen who decided to step up and start sharing information and interviewing people who had an expertise to help spread the message of truth and facts. And I quickly realized that it's hard to find a voice out there that has already done the fact checking and that you can fully trust. And Dave Workman is one of those voices for me that I can easily go to, and that is invaluable because the time it saves me. All right, our next speaker who is coming up to the stage is John Correa. Firearms instructor with 800 hours in class in firearms training. Empty-handed self-defense instructor with an earned 2nd degree. Black belt, teacher and professor. 8 years military service. Most watched self-defense and firearms use channel in the world on YouTube. Active self-protection, John Correa.
I tell you what, Cheryl gave me a little bit of time, and Paul and Susie asked me if I would speak. If I may have your permission to hurt your feelings. Do I have your permission? I told this, okay, so the one that actually after me, Neil's talk after mine is probably more important, because it really doesn't matter if you're reaching a bunch of people if you can't make enough money to do that, right? And he's the one actually talking about monetizing. Because quite frankly, the Second Amendment community loves our safe spaces. The Second Amendment community is the biggest bunch of snowflakes I've ever seen in my life. worst at it. I'll go in the media, especially, I get people all the time. They're going, oh my God, John, YouTube hates us. They hate the Second Amendment. Facebook hates us. No, they don't. They don't hate you. You know what that means? It means you live in a freaking echo chamber, is what it means. Because guess what? All my friends on the far left are experiencing the same problems in their social media, and they're having the same issues show up. And when you think, oh, they hate us, no, they're doing this to everyone.
Things they don't
The game
understand, which
changes,
makes them
and if
very
you don't get
arbitrary.
over that, then you
Which is
lose.
what I've heard from the interview with
And don't
NightStryke
clone your
for
hole.
YouTube.
And be completely insignificant and go be obscure. That's the reality. We started the channel in April of 2016. It's in the top 3,000 most viewed channels on YouTube in history at this point. Okay, which is crazy. We never were supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be a monk. Okay, I'm supposed to be a pastor and professor, but instead here I am. And so that channel, about 50% of the time I get yellow bubbles. Now, why do I get yellow bubbles? That doesn't mean I don't make any money on those videos. It means that they're dangerous. It means that advertisers don't particularly view them as brand friendly. And I argue with YouTube about that a little bit because I say, listen, if The Walking Dead can pull advertisers, don't talk to me about violence not being an advertisable thing. Okay? But, okay, they go, listen, that's up to the brand. My second channel, Active Self-Protection Extra, is me, literally 5 days a week, talking about guns, showing guns on the channel, teaching firearms use, talking about the legal aspects of self-defense law with attorneys. It's me on the range. We were on the range yesterday. Joe and Soleil and I were out there. My friend Mike Doyle running Red Dot stuff. We film it. We're shooting targets. We're doing all that stuff. We're talking about marksmanship. Guess how many problems I have with monetization on that channel? You guessed it, 0. Green bubble after green bubble after green bubble. And the honest truth, guys, if you go, hey, listen, oh no, I'm the victim here, rather than saying, no, I'm a business person. I want to build an audience, and I want to recognize how to help that audience do well, and in the process, I can get paid and do well for my family. If you approach it from that perspective, then you can get after it. And do things sometimes change? Sure. Is deplatforming a thing? It can be, but I don't think it is very often if you do things the right way. Certainly hasn't been the case for me. And we had a few times where things have really taken off. When I got profiled in the Atlantic last year, and that was like, everybody's like, oh my God, you're amazing. And I was like, okay, cool, I made it. That's great. Do you know why? It's because I try not to be the extreme edge and virtue signal to my tribe.
Do I need to like move back?
But I try to go, hey everybody, come in for the reason, right? Okay, so if you want to build an audience, all right, here we go. Enough with me jabbing your ears, okay? If you want to build an audience, here's how we've done it. There's 2 things you cannot do. Here are the 2 things. Ready? I've got 2 things for you that if you do them, you die. If you do the first of these, it'll kill whatever social reach you have like this right now. Number 1 is you cannot buy followers. I can do it for you if you want. Let's see. I'm seeing. I just looked it up the other day. I can buy you 1,000 subscribers on YouTube right now for about $5. So if you want 1 million subs on YouTube, I can get them for you tomorrow for $5,000, and your channel will be dead. Never do this because those people won't show up to watch. And I say this to people all the time. They say, "Oh, you know what? How many subscribers do you have?" I say, honestly, it's irrelevant because you don't get paid for subscribers. You all have dealt with manufacturers and people who are selling products. Do they care how many subscribers you have? Not really. They care about how many views you get. They care about that. It's a different metric entirely. And are those views quality views? And are people actually showing up? I can get you, let's see, I think 1,000 followers on a Facebook page right now, I think is about $4 in most places. And they'll just murder whatever page it is you get on. Because they won't engage with your content, and that tells the bots, that tells the powers that be that are deciding what to show people that your content sucks. That's exactly what it does. Because they'll scroll right by it, they're paid to do it, and because they won't interact with it, Facebook's algorithm goes, that content sucks, nobody interacts with it, nobody spends any time with it. So, the first thing you cannot do is you cannot buy your way to that influence. Okay, we have bootstrapped active self-protection from nothing from day 1. The second thing you cannot do is be boring. I know you're interested in your stuff, but how many times have you turned on a YouTube video, you get 18 seconds into it, and you go, boring, and you turn it off? Have you done it? Yeah, you do it all the time. But here's the reality. When you start a YouTube video, you're going to decide in the first 15 seconds if you're going to watch it. Heck, sometimes I decide even before that. Somebody will send me a YouTube link, I look at it and I go, 48 minutes? I ain't got that kind of time. What are you, nuts? When it's 8 minutes, and if the thumbnail's awesome and title's good and it's interesting to me, like, hey, okay, 8 minutes, maybe. You get a 20-second intro. Are you going to entertain me, or are you going to educate me, or are you going to be interesting? If not, I'm done. Straight up. So, 2 things you absolutely cannot do. You cannot buy your way there, and you cannot be boring. Neil, who's speaking next, his wife Stephanie is the XO of Active Self-Protection. She's fantastic, and she calls me the incessant tinkerer. Because we'll be doing something on YouTube, we'll be doing something on our Facebook page, we'll be doing something on Instagram, and I'll tweak it and change it to see how it does. Okay, let's try something different. Anybody here follow the Active Self-Protection YouTube channel? God bless you and keep you. Thank you for feeding my children. Anybody notice the change I made this last week? Nobody did. Everybody's like, no. Actually, that's a winner for me, because you didn't notice it. Actually, the change that I made this last week was for the longest time, I'd come on in the middle, and we'd say, the 3 lessons I really want to focus on, blah, 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 and we put them out in graphic text. And I said, I don't wonder if people actually get anything out of that. Or if we should just pop that entire section out and do this other way and make it a little bit more compelling to get right to it. And I made the change, and it was like nobody cared. Oh, cool. Less work for me. Perfect. Let's do it. So easy day. Okay. So let's talk about 3 things you have to do. Number 1, you have to create compellingly. Create compellingly. There's tons of good content on the internet that does not get anywhere. Tons of good articles that don't go anywhere. Now, what is compellingly? Now, what I mean by that is whatever content it is that you create, people have to just, I can't help but engage with this. I can't help but to be a part of this. Now, that could be, they hit the heart on the grams on your picture, or they watch your video on the YouTubes, or they leave you a comment on Facebook. So there's a difference between good and compelling. Now, the worst version of compelling, you know, right? And you hate it. We call it clickbait. Are you familiar with clickbait? You'll never guess number 4. I can't believe that Beto O'Rourke said this. Oh, what'd he say? I gotta click on that. Right? And then the article doesn't deliver on that promise. Well, clickbait is compelling content. It's just jerk compelling content. Okay? And you hate it and I hate it, so don't do that. We're not talking about clickbait, but I talk about compelling. Now, I'm going to tell you, again, on all of your social platforms, you have just seconds to get somebody's attention. Much less on Instagram, because it's all picture. You got some video content on Instagram now. But whether it's Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, I will be honest with you, if you want to know how to build an audience on Twitter, I am not the guy to talk to. I suck at Twitter. It's like a hive of scum and villainy in my world. Okay? I hate Twitter. Right now we've got 1.5 million on YouTube between the 2 channels. We have about 300,000 on Facebook, and just over 50,000 on Instagram. And so when you start going, okay, what does compelling look like? It depends on your audience. Now, you can create compelling content by virtue signaling to your crowd. I can tell you, if you want to build a group of right-wingers, put up pro-Trump memes and yay guns. They'll show up. If you want to build 1 million followers on Instagram, the best way to build 1 million followers on Instagram, by the way, is to be a really good-looking woman who is willing to show her bits. It's God's own truth. That's what I said. I have the cleavage, but probably not the rest to get 1 million on the grams. So, anyhow, so compellingly. That means people have to show up and see what you do. If you're going to do that on video, I can tell you on YouTube, compelling starts with an absolutely compelling title and thumbnail. We 8 weeks ago, or no, I guess it's about 3.5 months ago now, we changed the thumbnails on the Active Self-Protection channel at the urging of my YouTube rep. He's like, hey John, try some different thumbnails. Let's see what that does. And it instantly boosted my click-through rate up to about 14.5%. Now, I want you to recognize, most people don't get this. Over 10% click-through rate on YouTube is ridiculous. Like, that's a 98% of the bell curve. We get 14.5%. My YouTuber up, what have you done? We're just trying to make it super compelling. Oh yeah, well done. So that's showing up is titles and thumbnails, titles and thumbnails, titles and thumbnails. So, number one, create compelling in your own voice. Okay? Number two, you have to create regularly. The attention span of the world today is measured in social media minutes. If you don't put up regularly, people will not show up. If you have the greatest idea on earth, and you're like, man, I'm going to make a Facebook page for this, blah, 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 and I'm going to create this audience here, and people are going to listen to me, and you put up a post, 3 posts this week, and 1 post next week, and then you go dark for 5 months because life happens, or whatever, you will be forgotten, long forgotten. And even like, say for instance on YouTube, I tell people all the time, regularly is the key. Even if that regularly is once a week. Hey, new video every Monday, or new video on the 15th of the month. That's fine, as long as it's a regular occurring thing that people can't depend on, okay? Now, I'm a monster at this, okay? So on the main active self-protection channel, I post this video 365 days a year. Literally every single day of the year. On active self-protection extra channel, 5 days a week, 52 weeks a year. Monday to Friday, every single week. Now, I get it. You're like, holy crap, John, how do you do that? I don't have a job anymore. This is what I do for a living, right? I tell people, and then somebody asked me a couple weeks ago, what do you do? I said, I'm unemployed. They're like, what? Yeah, no, I don't have a job anymore. I'm basically unemployable now. But I do work like a monster to create the content. You have to post regularly. If you don't, you will not build an audience. The people will just kind of come and go. You'll pass them through. Okay? If you go on the Active Self-Protection Facebook page, I post 12 posts a day over there. Now, I use an automator to do that. I use, most people would use something like Hootsuite or something I pay for Edgar, but having regular content over there. And then the final one that I think most people in the content creation business ignore, you have to, number 3, engage relentlessly. You have to be in there talking to people, not at them. It's a social media age that we live in. So I think sometimes the old model is, look at me, I'm the expert, I listen. I tell folks all the time, it's kind of a weird spot that I've become in this social media world, in the firearms community and self-defense space. But I have Masada you calling me and saying, John, how do real gunfights go? Really, boss? Holy crap. Have you seen this in a gunfight, John? No, I haven't seen that, boss. Gosh, we've been teaching that for a long time. I don't know what to tell you, man. I've just never seen it. I'll give you, for instance, on the main channel, this past week, first time I've ever seen a battlefield pickup of a firearm in a gunfight. Ever. For a on-duty law enforcement officer. So people are like, well, you got to be able to manipulate a gun any which way, because what happens if you battlefield pickup? I've watched 25,000 gunfights and I've seen it happen once. I'm not real worried about that problem. So when people talk to you, talk back. Don't think, oh, I've created the content, now it's out there in space, and they can consume the content. No, they want to engage with you. And if you don't engage back, then what does that tell your social media follower? Yeah, they care. This person doesn't care about me, this business isn't about me, they don't want to interact with me, so I'm not around for them. But if instead, you dive into those comments, and we do this all the time. Stephanie, we have a couple of other folks who moderate comments with me. Right now on the main Ask channel, we moderate about 4,500 comments a day. On Facebook, we're averaging around 800 to 1,000 a day. People go, you moderate all that? Every single one. I look at every single comment every day. Now, that's a lot of work, and I don't do it all by myself. I have fantastic volunteers that help me do that. Now, we do that because, number one, I want to cull out those people who are not good faith actors. And I'll ban people off my stuff like you wouldn't believe. You show up with racist butthurt, you gone. Just get away. None of that crap. And it's done. Because quite frankly, I think we put up with way too much casual racism in the Second Amendment. You think I'm wrong? Simply going to talk a little bit later. Is there a little casual racism in our community?
Just a tiny bit.
It's a little bit, right? Maybe a little. Okay? And if you don't recognize it, you're a fool. But we get in there to say, to answer honest questions. I will troll the trolls back. Okay, so every once in a while somebody will show up and troll me, and I'm like, oh, Fred, you have run into the troll lord. I will get you 10 times better than you've gotten me. So my point is that the 3 things you have to do to build an audience. If you want to build an audience, you have to create compelling. You have to post regularly. You have to engage relentlessly. If you do those things, the audience will show up. We have in 3 years' time, we started the Active Self-Protection YouTube channel April of 2016. 3 years' time, we built 1.5 million followers on the main channel. I'll tell you on Extra, it's not as big a channel, which tells you something. Some people like to show up and watch violence. A much smaller subset of those people actually want to do anything about training. That's the honest truth, okay? I don't sell products. I don't do a lot of gear reviews on Extra. I train. I'm a trainer. That's what I do. I'm a fire instructor. And so those folks are smaller. There's only about 76,000 on that channel right now, but those folks are crazy engaged. And those folks, when I say, hey guys, think about this. See this widget? This is kind of cool. I'm using this widget.
I have no idea.
But you get my point, right? Hey, this is a cool widget. And then the needle moves. Because the manufacturer goes, holy crap, stop. I'll give you my favorite, for instance. My favorite reason, for instance, I changed my pepper spray to this palm unit. I really like the form factor of it. Okay? And the owner of the company is awesome. And he and I talked a bit. And I said that. I went, hey, let's OC spray somebody. Because we got to see if it's useful, right? So it's supposed to be. So how do you see if it's useful? Spray somebody in the face with it. Probably wouldn't do that without their permission because the local constabulary would disagree. But we had some friends, they did it. It was me. I was like, oh, friends, this stuff is pretty cool. I'm gonna carry this because it's easier for me to carry. A week and a half later, the owner of Palm called me and said, can you unlist that video for a week? I'm out. What do you mean you're out? We've run out of units. Did he knock me out? He said, stop talking about it. I need to manufacture some more. Give me some time. How many did you go through? Like, I think you went through 38,000 units or something. And I was like, awesome. Send me money. And he did. It's great. Anyhow, my heart is this for you guys. A, please hear me. Think like business people. Think like people who are like, look, my purpose here is to engage an audience and build an audience of people who I can influence, who I can help. By influence, I don't mean manipulate. I mean, I can help these people and I can be a positive influence in their life. If you do that, if you are not boring, but you create compellingly, you post regularly, and you engage relentlessly, the audience will show up. And then when you do stuff like last night, John Houtman from Bilster comes over to my house, and he has a cool holster. And you want to have fun in the Second Amendment community, you take an HK Mark 23, and you put a big old compensator and a light on it, and you see if you can cram it into a Bilster floodlight holster. And then you watch John Houtman conceal carry an HK Mark 23. Appendix. And he didn't shoot his junk off either. Pretty awesome. So, guys, we're going to be around today. Neil and I will be here for the morning, and I'm happy to answer questions, and I'm happy to help you in any way that I can. Okay? I appreciate the work that you do. Let's do the best job we possibly can of reaching outside of our small tribe and inviting the people into our world who we are needing to reach to keep a strong, not just Second Amendment, but the entire Bill of Rights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time. 20 minutes and 48 seconds, Mrs. Todd. I'm sorry.
Well done. You're making me look bad, but I think that's the first time I've heard bits and junk used in the same speech. But the day is young, so gauntlet thrown to the rest of the speakers, right? Okay, next speaker coming up on stage is Mr. Neil Widener, talking about monetizing your content. And we all want to know how to get some money out of our content. He is the Chief Marketing Officer of Active Self-Protection.
Hey Neil, I love you.
You better.
You better.
Well, thanks for having me. I am not a public speaker. I'm not in front of the camera kind of guy. I'm a behind the cameras kind of guy and a smart-ass comment guy, so I have a little bit of a language issue sometimes, so I I'm gonna apologize up front for my poor language skills. Yeah, I'm Neil Widener. My claim to fame is I know the XO of active self-protection, biblically. Yeah. Steph, I just had our 25th anniversary, and we celebrated the Ask Cruise. John and his wife and a couple others, and Steph and I went on a cruise and had a really good time. So I'm the typical FUD guy. At the Ask crew, they make fun of me as the FUD because I'm the hunter. I love Blaze Orange. We were introduced into the self-defense world, and I grew up with guns. I can protect my family kind of way, and we've got a foster son that we've adopted now. Some of you guys know Cody, and he's a big part of ASP as well. But we had some challenges with the family, and my wife was not Second Amendment supporter. She made me get rid of all my handguns when I first had kids. It was kind of weird as a guy that grew up with guns to get rid of that stuff. And then we had some safety concerns, and she dove in head first dove in, really got into it, and we started doing some training. I took my very first real training class in handguns about 4 years ago with John. It was the most embarrassing day of my life, and I learned that I don't know what I'm doing in this. And so I've jumped in as well. I do a little bit of training now. I spend a lot of time on the range. I shoot a little bit of ammo and a lot of dry fire, and that's me in the self-defense world. Neil, on the other side, is a business guy. Anybody remember the cow-spotted gateway computer thing that was kind of a craze? Anybody here old enough to remember that? So I was there when the first cow-spotted box went online. That was my gig. I was a computer engineer. Went into sales there. Spent a few years running call centers, running a lot of different business kind of things, doing some consulting work with some businesses and that kind of thing. And so about 3 years ago, Steph really working with John a lot and spending a lot of time doing the active self-protection thing. And one of the things John talked about one time, we were having dinner in Milwaukee, and he's like, I got to turn this thing. This thing's got to make money. I've got to be able to feed my family. I want to not, if you know, John is a retired pastor. Right? Is that the right word? He wanted to be able to preach and not take a paycheck from the church. And I'm like, oh, well, what does that look like? What do you want? And we were at USCCA or NRA Carry Guard or something like that, and he was speaking at that. He's like, well, really, I just need sponsors to come in and spend money with us. And I'm like, oh, hey, I might be your guy for that. Let's walk around the floor tomorrow. Let's find a couple customers or potential sponsors that you like, and I'll do my thing. I don't know. Maybe it'll work. Maybe it won't. And he kind of rolled his eyes and was like, yeah, whatever, Neil, let's do it. And so we walked around the floor the next day and ran into Mantis, right? The Mantis guys are a big sponsor of ours. They put some food on all of our tables at the Ask Crew for a couple of years now. And really the gist of where I'm going is this is kind of how I got into this thing. I've brought my business background and consulting stuff and sales work to the Ask team and really been able to leverage that thing. So I'll start with asking you guys a question here. How many of you do what you're here in this room for full time and make a living at it?
Full time.
I'm getting a little dry with every coffee.
Right? I gotta separate full time for making a living. Yeah.
Right?
No.
We all put full-time hours into this thing. I put full-time hours into Ask, and I still have a day job. Insurance is a good thing, and John doesn't want to have to pay for that for me, and I don't want him to have to. So everybody here would like to do this full-time and make a living? I mean, it's a passion, right? So I think the thing that you've got to look at is this a hobby or is this my business? And what I see in the 2A community with a lot of bloggers, YouTube channels, Instagram guys, that kind of thing, it's their passion, and it's something that they really like to do, but they feel like everybody should look at it like they do. And businesses that give you money to get your word out or get the word out about their stuff, they don't look at it through our passion. what John just shared a little bit, is they look at how many views you get. They're looking at the business side of this, not the passion, not the, oh wow, it's really great that you really care about this. They don't care. They're in business to make money. And that's where I think as a group, like what we've got here, we really got to look at and develop that kind of stuff. So I go back to all of my business stuff. A mentor that I had a few years ago in the whole call center world was a guy named Al. And if Al called me today and said, hey Neil, I got a job in Alaska, I would pack up my family and move to Alaska. He's that guy. Everybody probably has one of those guys in their background. And Al taught me more about business than probably anybody. And I bring this to what I do at Ask as much as I can. He's got 3 rules that he lives by. Very simple rules. You do whatever you want, run the business, do it ethically, all of that kind of stuff. But the 3 rules are know your business, know your people, never ever lie. And so so I would encourage you as you go out and try to monetize your channel, the ways that you're going to do that is know your business. You got, the age that we live in with social media, it's not going away. I get it, and I know we've got journalists from all over the place, from writing articles in magazines to the YouTube guys, right? But the social media stuff is not going away. Don't drag your feet, embrace it, lean in, and take advantage of what you can. Know your business. Find the analytics on whatever platform you're on, and know how many viewers you've got, how many readers you've got, how many, what your interaction is. John talks about engaging with people. Engage with them, and they will spend their money in your place where you're at, right? Now, to know your business also means you've got to really know what it is that you're talking about. You can't endorse something really stupid. You only get to sell your integrity one time. Right? Once your integrity's gone, you're not getting back your readers, your viewers, your followers. You're going to lose them at that point. So know your business and keep your integrity intact with that, okay? So once you know your business and you know the numbers that you've got, now you can go out and then you got to know your people. That's the second piece, right? So your people are yourself, the team that you have around you working with you, if you're working with a group of people, or you're working with your spouse, or if you're working on your own, know yourself. But also know your audience. That's your people, right? If you've got 25,000 followers, know those people. If you've got 250 million followers, know those people, okay? And then the last part of the knowing the people that you've got to know is who are your potential sponsors? Who is it that you want to do business with? Who is it that you trust to share their topic, their product, their whatever with your people? Does that make sense? Kind of following where I'm at there? So know your people, know your business. And then the last thing is to you can't ever lie. Don't lie to your people, because like I said, your integrity goes, it's gone. Don't lie to your sponsors. Don't fill them full of numbers that aren't real. I think Paul said this morning, don't go back on your word. Those kind of things are very important in those places. They're spending their hard-earned dollars with you, or they're considering it, right? And the last part of the don't lie is don't lie to yourself. You've got to be honest with yourself. If you are a smaller channel, embrace it. Once upon a time, Active Self-Protection was a pretty small channel on Facebook. He did the things that he just talked about to grow that. But embrace that. At that time, there's different ways to make money, and the size of your channel matters. They say size doesn't matter, but it really does on social media. Okay, so there's a few different ways that you can monetize your channel. There's the big ginormous Active Self-Protection. I've got 30 million views. That's easy for me to go to a potential sponsor that I like and say, hey, you want to get your stuff in front of 30 million sets of eyeballs? Everybody's pretty interested in that, right? But if you've got 2,500 viewers, Mantis isn't going to give you a check for thousands of dollars a month to get their stuff in front, because there's no return on investment. So you've really got to focus on what that return on investment is. And where I'm at with a smaller channel, I work with a few different guys and help out, and we're friends with a lot of different people in the industry, and people call from time to time. And the thing that I tell them is, everybody wants to cash a check at the end of the month from sponsors. But if you don't have the viewers or the readership to support that, nobody's going to give you a check to cash. So embrace the affiliate programs, right? There's everybody out there, and the small mom and pops to the big guys have affiliate programs. If you're a smaller channel and you can't draw the check in, talk to them about affiliate programs. And what an affiliate program is, if you're not familiar, I'm getting dry again. Told you I don't know. So an affiliate program is a you share a link to their site. I mean, most of you are probably familiar, but you're going to share a link. Somebody clicks that link, goes and buys that product. That company pays attention to what that is, and then they write you a check for X%. There's a ton of them out there. I'm sure there's people in the room that do this already. But embrace that. If you're the smaller channel, embrace that. And as you and embrace the smaller companies that do that, because as they grow and you grow together, your relationship's going to get to the point where you're going to make more money, and at some point you're going to start writing a check for the views. Does that make sense? So, so the biggest thing is and it's not lying to yourself. You've really got to embrace where you are, who you are, what your channel can do, or your page, or whatever your platform is. Embrace that none of that's going away. Don't throw out an anchor and say, here's what it's always been like, I'm not moving. You got to go with flow. This is, I'm sure, if I look back at my, I grew up in the 80s and my parents hated rock and roll, but, they embraced it. Life would have been so much easier for us. We probably would have got along better when I was in my college days. Again, I'm talking really fast, but at the end of the day, where we're going with this is to find the ways that you can benefit them. It's a business. They're not looking to just give us money. They're not looking for ways to just, we're not a donation to them. We've got to draw viewers and customers into them. So, do I have a question? Thanks.
I have a question.
Bring it on.
Is there any truth to social media, Facebook being one, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, I could keep going. Is there an age that you see? Because for us, with the Complete Combatant,
Yep.
we've found that ages 30 to about 65 is our audience.
Mm-hmm.
Should we be dedicating more time to one of those social media outlets as opposed to another? Fusion, which is our MMA school.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's on Instagram and their ages 14 through 28. They don't even know what Facebook is anymore. Is there any truth to that? And guide us through it.
Are you looking at my notes up here? Because that's where I was headed.
Oh, really? No. I snuck into your room last night, though. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, me and John both.
Right.
Sorry, yeah, I didn't know.
So once you've got the basics of the concept of the know your people, know your business, don't lie, and that you're trying to build a relationship between your fans and your sponsors. It kind of goes back to that know your people, and the different platforms are different. Facebook 10 years ago. You all did Facebook memories, right? 10 years ago, I'm like, oh wow, this Facebook thing was really cool. Here's where I live. Here's what I was doing. Our generation has kind of embraced that and kept with that, but the younger folks are not on Facebook anymore. My kids don't
Talking
Facebook.
about how to do
If I want to talk to my kids, I've got to be on Snapchat. Does anybody use Snapchat? If you do, I could use right? Yeah, and the crazy energy drinks and all that kind of stuff. But so really what we got to do is jump to good examples, because we've got a million plus on YouTube. We've got 300,000 plus on Facebook. We've got 70,000 plus on Instagram, and those are three separate audiences.
Yeah,
There's not a lot of flow through to where I did all my active self-protection stuff on YouTube and Facebook because I'm an old right?
Yeah. Then do you when you post, I do post separate content, but what's the difference between sharing the same thing? Like I can go to Facebook and then share it to whatever. Should we post separately or do we share what we've
some
already
audio,
posted?
You know, I think it really depends on what it is that you're
People
trying to
that-
get
that
across and what the
follow this
product
type
is.
thing.
Because
Okay.
we're talking about monetization.
Yeah.
So for XYZ
See, like,
sponsor,
and that's how-
it might be that
what's
they
it,
want their you know, they might be going after the older
defense or
crowd, or
whatever.
you know, that
They
our
stream
generation.
with Paul.
But if you've got something that's a little bit newer and you want to go, you know, Instagram is a little more flash. They're looking for more video, they're looking for those kind of things. You know, your reviews are a great way to get views. People want to see this kind of stuff, and that's another good way for you as a channel to monetize, is offer a gear review to whoever it is that you're talking to. The challenge that we have, and I'll you know, and I've fought this even with ours, I've you know, what was it, 2 years ago at SHOT Show, we just reached 1 million fans on YouTube, and I was, you know, really trying to help John get out of the preaching thing, or get out of taking a check for preaching. We were at SHOT Show, and we walked up to a very well-known company, and I'm not going to name names, because I'm still kind of mad at them, but I walked up with a little bit of swagger of, I've got 1 million fans, and I'm like, hey, you know, I'm trying to line up some, you know, some gear reviews and stuff, some videos that we can put on our channel, and I walked up and I talked to the first person that comes up to me, and I'm just like, hey, here's who I am. I'm Neil. We've got a YouTube channel, Act Self Protection. Just want to know if we could schedule some time with somebody to maybe introduce your new products to our fans. And I got okay, you got to talk to Larry. I don't remember what the guy's name was, but I'm going to call him Larry because that's a good name, right? So she walks over to Larry, who's having coffee with 2 other employees of XYZ company, and they're sitting there literally telling jokes. And I stood there for 5 minutes while they talked, and I got a little of this. I got a little, who's that guy? That kind of, you know what I mean? The side eye that you get from them. So eventually he walks over to me, and he's, you know, who are you? What do you want? I'm like, Neil, Active Self-Protection. You ever heard of us? Nope, I have no idea who you are. But we've done enough YouTube stuff for today. Okay, how about tomorrow? No, we've done a lot of YouTube stuff. And I'm like, you know what, I tell you what, and now I'm a little frustrated, so I hand him my business card that says Active Self-Protection. And I'm like, hey, maybe you'll look us up tonight. If you want, my cell phone number's on there, send me a text. I'll be back tomorrow, if you want, with my 1 million fans and my 2 million eyeballs. And I just walked off. Okay, so I'm not real proud of my reaction there, but at the end of the day, what I learned from this is that as YouTubers and social media people, what typically happens with these smaller channels, or even our bigger ones, we see something that is super cool, and we walk up and we're like, hey, if you give me one of those, I'll get your name up there. You know, and we're immediately trying to trade, and we're immediately trying to get free stuff from them, and that's what these businesses see. And so even when you walk up with 1 million fans, they still look at their watch, they still roll their eyes, and they still say, I don't want anything to do with you, because every one of you wants free stuff. That's all you want. The only reason you're on social media is to get free crap from me. And that can't be what you're doing. If you're running it as a business, can you guys eat XYZ gear? John, how many people ask you for holsters?
It's constant. The interesting thing is I've been on the other side of it too. So I've been in a position where I'm like growing my social media presence and growing a YouTube channel, and then kind of converting that into a product-oriented business. And I get a lot of people who I've never heard of, haven't demonstrated any value, reach out for something for free, and don't include anything in the first email, like what their demographics are, how many views they get, whether or not the people in their demographic are lookers or buyers, because that's going to change based on age, range, and all the other customer information. They're like, I want something for free. I have this many subscribers. And I'm like, you couldn't tell me any less.
Right.
What I really like is when I see an uptick in sales or a bunch of sales come into the day and wonder where it came from. Go find it, find someone who's already demonstrated value, and then I reach out to them.
Right. Now, if they knew their people, knew their business, and didn't lie, would that interaction be different?
Yeah.
If they came and said, here's what I've got, here's who my people are, and here's an honest thing of mine, and you know what, John, I'm not in a position to buy a whole bunch of your gear. Would you mind sending me one so try? Chances are you're going to consider that more than, oh, here you go, here's a bunch of free stuff. And so I think we as the social media 2A crowd You know, we walk around SHOT Show, we walk around NRA, we walk around USCCA, and we're just constantly asking for stuff. And you know, and I've seen it with you know, some people that I've walked around SHOT Show with. Man, can I have one of those tactical combs? Can I have one of these? Can I have one of those? It's just something that if we run it as a business, if you're running it as to fill up my closet and get a bunch of free gear, then knock yourself out and keep doing what you're doing. But if the end goal that you have is to make a living, to be able to quit your day job and to do what you're doing, you know, to feed your family and put food on the table, then you've got to stop looking at it as a hobby. You've got to start looking at it as a business. And the three things that you've got to do are know your people, know your business, and don't lie. Is that fair? So,
You haven't talked to any about crowdfunding. Like, I have really good success with Patreon, for example. I think it's a great platform and a great option. What's your thoughts on something like that?
You know, if you, so the biggest part of social media in growing a crowd, and I'll get to you in just a sec, okay, is you've got to become what John calls it, a trusted advisor. And I'm sure, I don't know if he stole that or if he made that up, I don't care, but so I like to try to give credit where credit's due, but I don't know where it came from, so thanks, John. But if you're a trusted advisor and you've got a group of people that see what it is that you're doing, and you go to Patreon and say, hey, if you like what I'm doing here and will support me, I think that's a great way to go. I think it's a great option for a smaller channel as well. You can ask for a $3 a month kind of deal, $5 a month, one-time donations, those kind of things. The challenge with the crowdfunding thing is that if you're not a trusted advisor, you look like a guy asking for money, right? So.
Yeah, you don't understand the platform, because Patreon is a social media platform.
Sure, I understand what you're saying. But if you're a social media platform and you've got a bunch of people that don't know who you are, and you haven't created the trusted advisor status in yourself that people know who you are and what you're about, the chances of them giving you money are pretty slim.
Sure, so, follow rather than support.
Right, exactly. So again, it kind of it works hand in hand. So all of the stuff that John just talked about makes my job very easy, because he's out there putting stuff out every day. They engage with people every day. Steph sits on her phone and her computer all day long, and she doesn't have carpal tunnel yet, but they're constantly engaging with people. And when the people are engaged, one, the sponsors want to work with you because they want to get their stuff in front of those people, and two, a lot of we've got a Patreon group that you know, some people come on and spend some money. What is it, $3 a month or something like that? So that's another great option and way to do that. So, I got one right away.
2 for 1. First of all, outreach to veterans in our community. And second of all, do you give lessons to disabled veterans over Skype?
Do I?
Would you?
On making money? I'll give lessons to anybody. I think so. I think one thing that we as a group got to be really careful with, you know, I'm not a veteran. I completely and wholeheartedly support the veterans, and I think that everybody is, you know, that these guys have done things, and women have done things for us that I didn't do, and it is a regret. It's a regret that, you know, my dad was a officer and my brothers and all that kind of stuff. I just had to go play football like an idiot and break my knee. But at the end of the day, you know, one of the challenges that I see in the community is we've got a lot of veterans out there that feel like if I play the veteran banner or wave my veteran banner, people are just going to automatically spend money with me. And that's a challenge that you're going to continue to run into. If you're, you know, if your channel is just, hey, I'm a veteran, support me, you've got to be more than that. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I'm a veteran, and I think that's great, and I think that should be, you know, celebrated and identified. But if it's a, hey, I'm a veteran, so you have to listen to me, you're gonna struggle because you're not gonna reach the non-veteran folks or the people that, you know, might not be pro-military, and believe it or not, there's a few out there. So it's unfortunate, but yeah. But in the end, yes, I think most people will do lessons for anybody at any time on anything. So I got one right here.
Thank you.
Yep.
So my question is, when you were talking about engagement, when John was talking about engagement, when you're responding to posts on Facebook or on Instagram, are you doing it as the brand of the page? Or John, do you do it as you personally? Do you separate the brand from you personally, or does that get kind of mixed together? Because I've kind of experienced that too.
The problem with commenting as yourself in your personal profile is you get overrun with friend requests.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, so you always respond as the page?
Yep.
Okay.
The other thing you got to be on that when you're responding as a page is where John has very thick skin, rhino-like skin. I do not. I'm a very loyal guy, and I want to back my friends up to a degree. So I stay out of the comments and all of that because if you guys know John, you know he's lost a little bit of weight, right? He used to be a big fat slob loser, Muslim beard guy.
Hey, I resemble that more.
He's got a tattoo, so he's going to hell, and all of that stuff. And as John's friend, and I consider John one of my best friends on the planet, that hurts me. And I'm like, hey, how dare you sons of, I get frustrated. So I don't always win that battle, but I really fight to stay out of that myself. He and Steph and the rest of the team that do that stuff are much better at it. So as you're engaging relentlessly, don't fall down the trap that I fall down, and if you do fall down, then find somebody else to do that for you. Fair.
I like them all.
Could you address selling products and offering products?
I like them all.
Selling products and offering products. Well, I'll try to answer your question as best I can here, and if I don't, just follow up, okay? So, when if you've got an audience like we've got that is basically around self-defense, you've got to align yourself with customers and sponsors that speak to that crowd, right? So a real great one is this Mantis trainer. Anybody familiar with that thing? I love them. They're good friends of mine. But that really speaks to, if you're going to carry a gun to defend yourself, you really ought to be able to use it, right? So, they asked us when we first started this, do you want us to give you, units to sell, or do you want us to pay you for the views? The ideal thing is to pay us for the views, because I don't have to have a closet full of units to sell. Okay, so if you've got the viewership and the readers or whatever your fans are, to where you can just sell the views, that's ideal. That's where you want to be, because it's less work. In anything that you can take off of your table. You guys are already working. Many of you are working a second job or a full-time job plus what you're doing right now. So if you can take time off of your day, I always say, selling their product is, if you have to, you have to. And we've done that before. We had I do have a closet full of stuff at home that we sold too. So, but at the end of the day, you want to get away from that, because you're going to have old product, you're going to have stuff that breaks, then you got warranty issues and all of the challenges that go with that. If you can sell the views and let them deal with all of that support stuff, that's ideal. Did I answer your question?
Very good.
Very good.
Following up on his question, what do you think about using Amazon for similar type
Affiliates?
affiliates?
Yep. So, when...
Or specifically for, let's say, products that you endorse.
Yep. I think that's a great way to do it, because you can make some money off of that. Amazon affiliates allow you to make money off of click-throughs. So if they click your Amazon affiliate link and they go to Amazon and buy that, you're going to get a percentage of that. The cool thing with Amazon affiliates is, if we share the link to XYZ product and they go there and look at that XYZ product, but then go, oh, you know what, I need a set of snow tires for my car, and buy them in that same thing, you're getting paid off of that. They're going to give you a percentage of that. So like I said, don't be afraid of the affiliate programs out there. Amazon's a great one. The challenge that I have with Amazon is the percentage is pretty low. Where if you go find a mom and pop shop and say, hey, if you do this with me, you can negotiate your stuff a little bit better. You can't really negotiate with Amazon. They're not giving away any extra money. Fair? Yes.
Yeah. So I work with a nonprofit. Have you ever worked with nonprofits? Do you have any specific advice for those of us in the nonprofit world? We
we are working with a nonprofit, so.
Not kinda. No, stop being humble, dude. You just raised 50 grand.
Yeah,
for
so,
the Enough Foster Team
well,
Camp.
let me tell my own story. So we travel around, do some training. We're in Manhattan, Kansas, at a host Tall Grass Shooting Sports. Turns out that these guys they also own and run Flint Hills Teen Foster Camps. So they help teens that have aged out of the system, out of the foster care system. 50% of those kids are homeless on their 18th birthday. So these guys, that's what they do. It's kind of it's a ministry that's not supported by any churches, which is kind of weird, right? There's a reason for it, but so what we're doing right now is we're doing the Active Self-Protection National Conference next weekend. We're going to spend 3 days. We've invited all of our friends to come teach, and we're donating all of the money. Well, we're not even taking the money. Every student fee is being donated right to the camp. As of yesterday, we had 100 people registered at $500 donations. We've raised $50 grand for that camp. So there's a fair amount of you in this room that were instrumental in making this happen. There's a fair amount of you in this room that are coming to teach, so I'm going to say thank you right now. One of the cool things is because of who we are and the sponsors and the relationships that we've built with them, is the sponsors are paying the travel to bring all these people in. So Sarah Kay is going to come take pictures for us, which I'm so excited about. And one of the things that I'm pretty excited about is John's doing I don't even remember what we're calling it, but I'm calling it the tactical makeover, where he's going to teach me how to run my holster better.
Concealment tune-up.
Concealment tune-up. I like that. Yours is better. Yeah, yours is better. Yeah. But yeah. So but we've got some sponsors that have stepped up and said, hey, this is a big deal. They've donated some money to the camp, and then that money's going to get filtered through to pay for everybody's travel. But these people are volunteering their time and that kind of thing. It's another great way to build relationships. Say, here's a way that we can do this.
And I would say, as a nonprofit in particular, showing those folks the value of what you do and the value that they get for being a part of it is critical.
Right. So, I know, so Sarah's going to come with your drone and get a bunch of video, and she's not producing all this because I'm not going to put her on the hook for months and months of extra work, so she's going to give all this video to us. We're going to create some stuff, and then we're going to turn around and make some videos that our sponsors can put on their channels, some videos that are going to go out on ours. Anytime that you can give, if you're well known in the industry, one of the, and here's another one I haven't really touched on, but you just gave me a thought here. We've got a few sponsors that, John's a personality, right? So people kind of know him. They see the red shirt, they know what he's about, and so what they want is him to make videos that they can put on their own channel. And there's a dollar value to that. Our time is not free. Now, John can sit down and make a video, and however long it takes to make a video, he's a one-take kind of guy, and I hate him for it. But he's really good at that. That's some of us are not like that. But there's value in that, and you can turn around, you can sell that to them. So if somebody's like, hey, I know you've got XYZ fans, and people know who you are, but we want to see you on our channel. Yeah, that's a great way to do it. And you can do it both ways. Fair? Did I get you?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So my question was, when you're dealing with your sponsors, how do you set the pricing? Is there a standard in the industry, or what is that?
I ask that of everybody that has sponsors, and everybody's like, well, we go with the industry standard. I'm like, oh, what's your standard? Because there is no industry standard. There's not. Everybody has their own. There's a thing called CPM, which is it's basically views per 10,000 or price per 10,000 views. If you look at Google AdSense, Amazon, any of those kind of things, they charge anywhere between $30 and $60 per 10,000 views. Is kind of how they break it down. So if you've got at least 10,000 views, depending on who you are, you may be able to charge $10. You may be able to charge $40, and it really depends on what that volume is. So, does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Anybody else? All right. Well, this was fun. I appreciate it. Like John said, we'll be around for a little bit. If you've got any questions, I'm happy to help. I do a lot of this kind of stuff. If anybody ever needs an introduction with some of these people, it's cool to be able to drop the active self-protection name because it gives me a little bit of pull with sponsors. But at the end of the day, I like to help my friends in the industry. I walked into John's house last night and a ton of the industry people were there. I literally felt like I was at home. My day job is not my passion. I sell soap. There's not a lot of passion in soap. And if you've got passion in soap, like my boss does back home, we got a problem. But where I've got the passion is in this community on self-defense and helping people defend themselves. When we get, Steph gets emails daily, you saved my life. And if any of you have ever been to training and had that, I've had that happen to me where some of the training I've done has literally saved me from a beat, at the very least. Right? And who did I call? Like, literally goosebumps right now, right? So this is a great group of people. The thing that I would recommend is really be honest and be who you are. Of the know your people, know your business, and don't lie. Don't lie. Oh, I just flipped you off. Sorry. I told you I'm a very appropriate guy. Is the important one. Be honest with yourself. Be honest with the people that you're working with, and they will reward you for it. It's not going to happen overnight. You're not going to immediately start cashing checks for $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. It's going to, it's going to take a time to build it, and that's why you got to stick. Paul started the whole day with "Don't quit." That's the thing. Don't quit. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's awesome. And he's just the teeniest bit early getting done. So that my magnetic personality, it does that. Yeah, you're welcome. So we have just a second. If I could get Miss Susan to come up to the stage, and I could get everybody, as we're getting up anyway to go to break, and kind of bunch into the center. If anybody knows me, I love a good selfie. So we're about to do the selfie of the room. Is there a word for that? Room selfie? A weefie? I don't know what that is. We need to coin a term. Rise, come to the center. Susan, come up front.
If I could pour in as well.
You and you.
I want to make one. I should have done this at the very beginning of the morning, and I very much neglected in my duties. I want to thank both U.S. Law Shield and Firearms Policy Coalition for stepping up. Part of the reason we're able to expand and do what we do and continue to get better is because these folks came aboard, and we really, really appreciate it. You're going to be hearing from Kyle Baggett from U.S. Law Shield right after break.
This is our buddy Kyle.
So we're going to be hearing from him right after break. We're doing this selfie, and I think we all need to stand up and take a break for a minute. So.
Oh, not at all.
You were looking like you were I'm getting a shot.
It's not our fault.
Here we go. On three. 1, 2, 3. I only got one. Go back to being independent.
Everybody, a reminder, be back here at 10:20, please. 10:20.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, you gotta work your way out that way and then go on right. It's a gentleman. Thank you. They should have beat. I don't know what I'm doing. Hello again. How you doing? I was looking for the curly hair. My grandmother. You learn a bunch about I want to say hide behind the big mistake. Good.
I don't get the joke about
We make good friends. That's all that this is.
You know what? It was a world. It was like I was there. It was like I either in office meetings or shoot videos, or I was sleeping. And that was pretty much kind of BBC, and I'll be doing it again here in Ottawa.
Fun in the audience.
All we can do. I can't put it any other way.
Yeah.
Put it to I'm not recording. Anyways, I'll catch up with you in a second. Is there anybody right here?
There was earlier. I don't know if it's bad, but there was someone sitting there. Right. You have to do something if you're going to get something. Nice to meet Arizona.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Where are you from?
I live in South Carolina, Charleston, but I'm originally from Mesa, Arizona.
Oh, okay.
So it's nice to be back somewhere where there isn't a whole ton of humidity.
Right. Yeah, I just spent the last week in Pennsylvania. So, yeah. We're actually due to get some rain this weekend. Maybe Sunday.
I'm Mike Savino with GunTube.org. You know, they're talking about social media platforms and whatnot, and I'm trying to create one. So it's not only good information for people on social media, but also people who are trying to build it.
Okay. Well, that's me.
expect you're going to be getting more business driven to you.
I hope so. I'd love to be able to start doing some advertising for people because we do have about 1,000 users on GunTube.org right now. Though as active users, probably about 100 active users. But I'm trying to get some form of advertising because I'd love to advertise for people to be able to, get more of the GunTube out there as well, and as well get people to some of the products that would be advertised. Because I don't want free shit. I just want to be able to run what I'm working on,
Right. How long has this been up and running?
I've been operating GunTube since about September 2017.
Okay.
So we're a one-man operation at the moment.
Right. Yeah, the guys that do in-range TV, they're down in Tucson.
I know in-range TV, but I don't know them personally. I haven't met them, but I know of them.
Yeah.
I watch some of their stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's just funny because they got some of their stuff pulled off of YouTube, and so they actually posted their content onto RedTube.
Yeah.
Hearing that, RedTube.
They also put it on Pornhub as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and then both of those, the content, they got pulled down as well. So YouTube didn't want them, RedTube didn't want them,
They're like, well, this really isn't what we want on that platform.
Right. That's the market they're looking for.
There's also another one, GunStreamer, and I don't like to put them up because I'm on GunTube, but they're doing a lot of good work too. So I support them in what they're doing. I'm focusing more on the live streaming and the live chats and the Hangouts aspect like Google had. I'm focusing on that as well as the videos, but primarily the live stuff because right now I know it's a kind of mess over here, but I am live streaming straight to YouTube and our platform.
So you're streaming now?
Yeah, I'm using the cell phone as a wireless camera using my hotspot. I'm just streaming everything. It works. I'm happy. That's how it is. At the end of the day, as long as I'm happy, that's it. I do YouTube videos as well on the internet, but I'm trying to keep things separate from GunTube. We get a little bit, we respect the First Amendment right, and sometimes that means some people don't want to hear some of the language, because a lot of businesses as well as a lot of just individuals don't want to hear certain words because, it's not kosher to hear this or that, but that's also a form of infringement on your First Amendment right.
So you're using George Carlin's list?
A little bit, yes.
That was famous probably 20 years ago when you came up with that.
I know. I remember George Carlin. I loved some of the Kevin Smith movies he was in. Like Dogma. I also saw a few of his performances as well.
Yeah, I like his perspective on a couple things.
You should do it. I was just coming to get
Gentle reminder, 3 minutes. The stage is going live in 3 minutes.
Programs including NPR's Morning Edition, BBC World News, and Nightline, and Gun Freedom Radio. When not working or speaking on Second Amendment issues, Lara is a mom, a wife, and an attorney. Welcome these ladies to talk to us about broadening the tent.
Is it still morning time? I have no idea. Is it morning? Yes? Okay, thanks. Good morning, everyone. So again, my name is Tiffany, and I hate using microphones. So I apologize if I don't use it correctly or if I scream unnecessarily, because that's what I'm used to doing, because I never use microphones. So since Cheryl did such a wonderful job of introducing us, we're going to put a little bit of a spin on the introduction and see if we can get you guys a bit more engaged in learning who we are and why we like talking about broadening the tent.
So I'm going to start out with this, and I'm also not much of a microphone user. So a lot of you know that I do a lot of different things with my time. I'm kind of busy, but I want somebody, and we're going to choose the first person who raises their hand and knows the right answer. What are these, one of my current or former hobbies? Geocaching, CrossFit, knitting, or archery?
You knit. You totally knit.
Geocache, somebody raise their hand. And out there in the back.
Geocaching.
Nope. I get lost going to the mall.
Knitting.
I do. I knit. I've got a blanket that's been in progress for like 10 years, like every other knitter in the world, and a lot of yarn. Come up and find me afterwards, and I'm going to give you a little voucher. You get something that I personally have knit. You'll have proof that I don't just shoot yarn to do long.
So we are the lawyers panel today, by the way.
So I live in California, and everybody thinks we have no guns. And if you follow me on Facebook at all, you know that's not true. Piper, you're out for this question because you know the answer already. So which one of these do I not currently own? A bullpup, a Remington 700, an AR, or an AK?
Remington 700. Remington 700.
Nope.
Bullpup.
Nope, I own a bullpup.
AK.
An AK. I have owned one in the past. I really hated shooting it with the California modifications, and I sold it. So, Rhonda, you get LG swag.
Nice. All right, so last but not least, here's mine. Which of the following? So I'm a teacher, as you know. We were introduced as lawyers. By the way, it's a sheer coincidence that all three of us are lawyers. We did not plan that at all. But I'm actually first and foremost a teacher. I love teaching, and I've taught a ton of different topics. Which one of these topics have I never taught an actual open enrollment class? Yep. B. Nope.
Defensive rifle.
Nope. What's that? Who said A? I heard it. Shelly got it right. Yay. So I've actually never taught a defensive rifle course. I'm a pistol girl. I'm just now getting into pistols. So you have a prize. This is your prize. And because I spent the first 20 years of my teaching career teaching hip-hop dance, that jump drive has all of my championship music mixes from the early 2000s. So you've got a bunch of hip-hop music there to listen to. So, I have another copy of that if anybody else wants. And by the way, and I'm from the South, so that's like real old school, dirty South hip hop. Alright, so not fit for work, okay? Alright, so, well,
How do we get your mix?
guess I'll have to do a mixtape now. I feature the mixes myself, by the way.
Bust the move.
Can you bust a move?
Oh, wow. That's a long story. There's cameras rolling. I think we're going to spare the internet. That was like 20 years and 50 pounds ago that I was doing all of that. So, we're going to give you guys 9 tips in 9 minutes on how to talk to folks who are not in the gun community. And I want to be clear about what this is not about. Because every time I talk about this, I get a lot of funny looks. I just got a funny look from a gentleman over there who's looking at me like, wait, what? That's from people who think, well, my audience is the gun-owning community. I want to talk their language. I want to tell them what they want to hear. They're mostly Republicans. They're mostly leaning right. That's fine. If that's your target audience, that's totally cool. Do you, boo? That's all good. But if your goal is to bring new people in, if your goal is to preach beyond the choir, that's a whole separate thing. And that's what we're talking about. Okay? So, we will start with Annette.
Only awkward. So, I'm looking around, I think there's about 3, 4, 5 Asian people in this room, about 100 people. Can we talk about the elephant in the room? Let's talk about it. What is it like to be not like the people around you? Have any of you ever been somewhere where you're the only one of that kind? And have anyone ever given you that funny look? Yes. And don't you wish they just asked you, what is it like to be you? And what's the best way to do that? Do it respectfully. Hey, I just want to ask this question. I know it's a little awkward. Say it. I know it's awkward. And then listen. This is how we include people. We ask them questions respectfully, and then we listen to their answers and think about them and put those words into action. I don't know how to use this.
I've never been away.
I need one. Tip number 2, be patient. Just because you've opened the doors and say, I am welcoming all comers, does that mean somebody has come to your party? How many of you have ever thrown a party and said, 6 o'clock, we're starting, and everybody actually showed up at 6? Never. Who shows up at 7:30?
Always one person.
And it's always the person that you really wanted to see, right? But that's what this is. If we want to open the doors, if we want to draw in our tent, we can't just say, it's going to happen right now. Sometimes that conversation takes a little longer. Sometimes we have to try a few times. How many of you invited somebody to go out to lunch with you, and the first time you're busy, and then they get busy, and then we really, really want to get together, we see each other at a party, and we just fall out of touch. We don't send that email. We don't send that text message. It takes time. Sometimes we have a conversation, we meet somebody once, and go, I'm not really sure about that person. And then we go, hey, I really like them, I want to take them out. So be patient. Tip number 3, and I'm totally running over time like every lawyer in the world. Don't expect single issue humans. People care about other stuff beyond guns. I love guns, we all know this, but there's other things in my life. Like you heard about, I knit a little bit, not as much anymore. I do all these other things. I have a job that's completely outside the gun industry. People care about stuff that's not guns. A lot of you in here know me. What's my favorite color? Purple. Purple. Would you believe that as much as I love purple, as much as so much of what I own is purple, I am friends with people who like other colors? Look at this. Look at this. Blue. Green. I am passionate about purple. Everything I own is purple. I've got purple guns. I've got purple. My car's not quite purple, but it's pretty close. People care about other stuff beyond guns, and it's okay because we're not single-issue humans. We can still be friends, even if we don't agree about one thing or another thing, even if we don't agree about guns. And if we do that, we can bring them into the tent.
Use your platform to break down stereotypes. I have been on a lot of the shows of the people in here who podcast, and for that, I cannot thank you enough. Craig, you are one of the first. Thank you. We're going to call out coffee with Craig and drinks with Craig. John Richardson and I have spoken. I've talked with Tim, who's starting a new platform. Bring on people
classical liberal. I'm a liberal. I vote for liberals because I'm not single issue. Don't get caught in always having the same people. Yeah, there's like 1,000 of us that do all the work in this industry, that do the Second Amendment side. No. Have more than just the 1,000 you know about, or the 100 that you meet here, or the 500 that you meet here. That's a big thing. All these groups are the non-traditional groups. Bring them in. Talk with them. That is really huge. Then, let people be themselves. Don't push everybody to carry. It isn't for everyone. Self-defense is part of the firearms world, but it's not all of it. If somebody says, I'm not comfortable, that's okay. I do not have a concealed carry license. I don't carry. Don't gear shame. You can't shoot 1911s. I love 1911. My favorite gun is my Kimber. I like 1911 and I shoot it really well and the damn thing works. Don't gear shame. You might know that I took gunsmith to make you do that, but it works. Don't shove your views down other people's throats. You guys are all idiots for not shooting 1911. That doesn't help. It doesn't help when we're the people saying, you guys are idiots, you're libtards, except guys like to call me a libtard. You guys are, you're the snowflakes. It doesn't help and it doesn't get our message across to be antagonistic to the people who don't know. Don't be tribal. This goes right into that. It's so easy to be our little insular world. Y'all, there's 100 people in this room. We're a little world. We are a little part of the American public that actually comes out and does this and works really hard. Not very many of us get paid, which is kind of a great secret in this. I did a Reddit AMA and they all said, oh, and how much money do the manufacturers give you? And I said, nothing. You know how to let them give me money? But that was the tribe. The other side of the tribe was you're a part of that tribe. Don't be tribal. Show other people, hey, there's this big other world out here that we need to reach and talk to. And that's who, if we want to keep our rights, that's who we need to be talking to. Those are the people. And there's more than two sides. There's more than I'm a conservative that loves guns, and I'm a liberal that hates them. I'm proof of that. There's more than two sides. Start talking to those people.
Okay, so my tip is, should go without saying, but I find that it needs to be said. Please don't threaten people. That doesn't work. It doesn't help us to improve our image. It's not a good PR move to threaten people. Now, if you're speaking amongst your tribe, because we all get together with tribe every now and then, if you're out to dinner with a bunch of your gun buddies and you guys say stuff that's a little offbeat, right, a little uncanny, stuff you might not want to admit that you said among a public audience, that's okay. I'm not asking you to change who you are or to be politically correct. Oh my God, political correctness is so horrible. I'm not asking you to spend 100% of your time being politically correct. However, if your goal is for tomorrow's gun community to have a few more people than today's gun community, it's not going to help for you to threaten them. Okay? So please don't. I could go into all kinds of anecdotes on that one, but hopefully you guys know. Next, and this is similar to what Lara and Annette have already talked about in terms of being a full-bodied human, a three-dimensional person. Don't allow other folks to view you as being all about guns and nothing else, as fetishizing guns. Because think about it, one of our main talking points when we're talking across the ideological spectrum is, oh, guns are just tools. Right? Isn't that what we always, that's our go-to tagline when people talk about banning guns. Oh, aren't you going to ban pistols and screwdrivers? It's just a tool. Yeah, but if that's all you ever talk about and you look like a fetishist, then it's now become your world. There's nothing else to your identity except guns. So you're relying on your own message when you do that. You can't tell people it's just an inanimate object and then all you ever talk about is guns. Have other facets of your life. Make people understand why you elect to utilize that particular tool. Your family, the things you love, your passions, beyond just this inanimate hunk of metal or glass. Okay? All right. Number 9. of us take for granted, okay? If you've fallen into that loop where you're now repeating talking points all the time because you live in an echo chamber and you hear the same stuff all the time, then your default may be, oh, the antis, and you're thinking in binaries again, us versus them, that's a problem. Oh, the antis, they have nothing in common with me. They just don't get it. There's no point. Well, you'd be surprised how much quote-unquote antis get, all right? You'd be surprised how equally concerned about suicide and safety and crime prevention they are compared to folks who are pro-gun, to firearms instructors. If you spend an hour, the first hour of your firearms class talking about safety, guess what? You now have a ton in common with all of the people who quote-unquote hate guns. And a lot of them are in my family, right? So be careful about trashing folks and assuming that they have nothing in common with you. They do. We just got to talk about ways to get there. And that comes with what Annette was saying earlier about being patient. If we can simply for now agree that we all value safety, we all value our children's lives, we all have that in common, then the manner of protecting those values comes later. We have to be patient. All right, so we've got a few minutes left for Q&A. Who's got questions? Yes, sir.
How do you approach people who are proudly ignorant?
Well, okay, so I'll start with that. I will tell you how I did it with gun people back when I was anti-gun. Because many of the gun people I spoke to were proudly ignorant about my life, about where I was coming from, about why I wanted nothing to do with guns. They were proudly ignorant of that fact. I had to be patient with them. I had to give of myself and allow myself to be there with that person who had all these misconceptions about me, who knew nothing about my family and where I was coming from. I had to allow myself to endure that for the length of an 8-hour class, at the end of which people looked at me and said, you know, you're not that different from me. Then we found common ground. You have to quit being so defensive of your stance and allow people to be who they are, like Larry said earlier.
And I have a topic, and I talk on this topic a lot. You need to hear what they are saying and not the words they are using.
Yes.
It is not irrational to want to keep your children safe. That is the basis of an enormous amount of this, and we lose track of that because we get so focused on you want to take my rights. They want to keep their children safe. We all in this room at some point have agreed with a stance that would limit a right to keep our children safe on the internet, on a meme, reading a newspaper, whatever. Hear what they are saying and not the words they're using. Yes, I agree, they're trying to ban a right, but the basis is that's what they don't understand. They don't understand the technical, but what they want to do is keep their kids safe. Talk to them about keeping their kids safe, not about banning the rights.
I know you're dying to get in here, but for time, let's go. Yes, sir.
Taking the contrapositive for a minute, is there a way to take advantage of tribalism? In other words, if you are a whatever, to invade and pervade that culture and help to change it into us?
Absolutely. That is exactly what we talk about when we say be a three-dimensional human being. Have other passions, have other hobbies that people talk about and know about. A lot of, I do jiu-jitsu. There, I said it, you know I couldn't go that long without saying it. I do jiu-jitsu, and I roll twice a week, and that's what I'm passionate about. And funny, the anti-gun rolling partners that I have, my training partner came up to me one day and said, I still don't like guns. I don't feel safe. Can you help me? I want to learn how to shoot. I want to learn how to defend myself. I turned to her and said, you're a Brazilian jiu-jitsu blue belt. I don't know what you're talking about. But that tribalism, the fact that she trusted me as part of her BJJ family, is what brought her to me about guns, even though she didn't like guns. You're not going to be able to invade, but you are going to be able to talk to the people you know inside that group. Talk to the people you know inside that group and make friends with them. Don't see them as hostile. See them as someone that you can reach out to and talk.
I'm coming to a realization a lot of people operate under what I call I am
take is that I have my beliefs, you have your beliefs, we'll share with each other. Perhaps you may make, I'm willing to risk growing and making changes myself. Will you reciprocate?
So just a quick comment on that. I want to make sure that we dispossess everyone here of a common misconception. And that is that in this arena, that the point of debate is to convince other people to agree with us. Nothing could be farther from the truth. You don't need other folks to agree with you. You don't need to turn everyone around you into Annie Oakley in order for those folks to understand where you're coming from. There are plenty of people who I understand where they're coming from, even though I don't agree with where they ended up. And someone who would never be caught within 1,000 miles of a gun knowingly may still vote against a measure that limits the Second Amendment if they understand the motivations between the people who carry it every day. That's all we need is understanding. We don't need agreement. So please don't handicap yourself at the forefront
really angry, I could shoot. You know, I want to shoot that person. We've talked about that, not making threats, not being that guy. Don't act like the kind of gun owner that people are afraid of. Don't act like you might abuse the power that you have.
We had one more question. I think we have time for, or actually we've got two. But just to add to that, even though I've now sort of transitioned, I'm no longer afraid of guns, and I now consider myself a member of this community. I hope you consider me to be that as well. But I go home every day to a bunch of folks who don't agree with me on all of that. And whenever somebody gets on the news and talks about Beto O'Rourke and what they're going to do to him if he gets elected, can you imagine what I hear in my household about that? You are proving them right. Now, if you're amongst friends in private and you want to talk about what all you wish would happen to Beto O'Rourke, that's fine. But in the public sphere, and as citizen journalists, you are all public voices. In the public sphere, when you do that, trust me, you are not helping. You're not.
Question over here.
I know a lot of us in this room we're out front, we're doing stuff on the audience, on the side, and there's a lot of folks on the other side. I'm safe as far as they're concerned. How do you get past it?
So the question is, the other side sees me as Satan. They see me as a bad person because I am public about what I do around guns. And I get that. I think all of us here, especially as lawyers, are kind of used to being seen as the bad guy. I mean, how many of you actually wanted to talk to your lawyer? A few. So the way that we do that is to make ourselves as approachable as possible by not just being that person. Yeah, that's my job, to be a lawyer. When I'm at work, that's what I have to do. I have to be the bad guy. I have to say no, but maybe we can do it another way. So the same thing is, hey, be out there as the gun guy, but be out there as the gun guy who's also doing something else. Be three-dimensional. Remind them that this is your job, this is your passion, but you have other things in your life that you care about. You have other passions.
Another strategy is, I believe it was one of Annette's tips, and that is, no, maybe it was Lara, I can't remember. One of us mentioned actually listening to people. This is a grossly underestimated skill and necessity among people in the pro-2A community. When you ask someone a question, first of all, ask the question. Far too many of us don't even do that much. But when you do ask someone who disagrees with you a question, don't ask it for purposes of setting yourself up for the rebuttal. That's self-interest. You're not genuinely concerned about what is motivating them. And they see that. They see that a mile away. So when you ask people for their motivations and for their explanations, be genuinely interested in what their answer is going to be. And don't sit ready and waiting to attack back. Just absorb it, accept it, listen. And you may not even need to rebut. In fact, sometimes it's better if you don't. Cheryl mentioned earlier that I spoke at the UN. I don't know if anyone's ever been to the UN when they're having the NGO witnesses speak, but for the small arms hearing, they had like 20 witnesses lined up who were anti-gun. And then there were about 5 of us who were pro-gun. And there was a young lady there who was from Nigeria on the anti-gun side, and she spoke passionately about how she came to the United States because in Nigeria her parents were mowed down in the streets by people with guns. And she saw absolutely zero place for guns in civilized society, and she was dumbfounded by coming to the United States and being confronted with the same problem that she had fled. After the hearing, because I spoke directly after her on the opposite side, afterwards we ran into each other on the UN floor. I didn't engage her in debate. I didn't say, well, here's the problem with your logic. I said, I'm so sorry about your parents. And her eyes welled up. And we had an hour-long conversation that had nothing to do with guns. And I still get emails from her to this day not voting against any anti-gun, legislation to the extent she was otherwise. I'm not taking full credit for that, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that was me single-handedly changing her mind. That didn't happen. But at least she saw us, the gun community, as less of a monolith. And the devil side came down. She may think most gun people are the devil, but at least now she knows not all of us are.
And one final thing for all of us on the panel. We really are the unusual people in the gun world, and we know that. For all three of us, ask us the questions. Come find us at this conference online. We're all out there. Please come ask us the questions. We will answer them, and if you come and talk to us, we are happy to talk to all of you.
Thank you.
That was amazing. Truly amazing. Thank you so much for that. And it was fun, too. So, that was great. So, just real quick, a little bit of housekeeping, I guess I could say. If anybody's in the room who hasn't registered, like maybe you were on the waiting list, or maybe you just, came this morning and just showed up, we love you. Thank you so much for being here. Please register at the front with Miss Susan. We would like to be able to keep accurate records of, the growth that we've had over these last 3 years. And this is so wonderful to see such a full room. Also, I'm hoping that everybody is snapping pictures and thinking of those one-liners, right? Those sound bites that are going to help all of us communicate better. And I'm hoping that when you do that, that you are using 2 hashtags. One is hashtag Ammcon, A-M-M-C-O-N, and hashtag GRPC. Please also, as you can, sometimes it's hard to find people's little ats, right? Their little signifier of who they are in the digital world. But do your best, please, to properly tag those photos, and for sure use the @US Law Shield, the @FPC, the @SAF, and the @Ammcon, so that we are also being credited, and other people can say, hey, that looks pretty amazing. I want to follow these people that are tagged on those. That social media world is its own unique language, but it's very, very important to learn it and to use it, and that truly is the best way to grow our audiences, to have the influence that we hope to have, to carry the messages forward, and to reach the younger generations. So I'm doing a little bit of stalling. I don't know if you could tell, stretching it out a little bit. Paul needed to switch. It's time to go ahead and get Charlie on. All right. Okay. Without further ado, we would like to welcome to the stage Mr. Charlie Cook. Now he's applause right out of the gate. Maybe he doesn't even need an introduction. He is a lifelong musician and instrumental music teacher for over 20 years. He must have started when he was an infant, clearly. As an avid shooter and teacher and firearms instructor, he combines those things to create his popular gun brand videos. He also hosts the YouTube channel Riding Shotgun with Charlie, and features him conducting interviews behind the wheel while riding in various locations around the country with his shotgun riding guests. His videos have been featured on Comedy Central, and Charlie is rapidly becoming a popular guest on local and national radio programs, kind of like Gun Freedom Radio. Please welcome to the stage, Mr. Charlie Cook.
I love it, right? No. All right. So I have to go out for this weekend and buy a polka dotted shirt, and I got to tell you, there are not a lot of men's polka dot shirts, so it was rather difficult. So I wanted to come up here, and since Cheryl was going to be here, I wanted to wear polka dots, and I wanted to, since polka dots are her camo, I wanted to come up here and be topless. All right, so here, good morning, everyone.
This is being streamed.
That's okay. I'm not offended. Good morning. Here in the Second Amendment community, we enjoy our constitutional rights to be able to keep and bear. The people in this room are bloggers and writers and authors and speakers. We do podcasts, we make videos, we do all sorts of stuff. We create lots of content so we can share this with other people to educate them, for them to enjoy, and for them to share as well. We also talk about how we like our First Amendment rights. And despite what happened on Twitter Wednesday night, we still like to have this voice. So the theme for Gun Rights Policy Conference 2019 is Freedom Now. And I'm here to talk to you about getting over and through your confidence and competency hurdles in new platforms. This summer, if you're a friend of mine on social media, you probably saw me going through some of this process. I've been working on this all summer long. You probably thought, with some of the things that I was doing, that I was probably going through a midlife crisis. There we go. Most likely. No, I was not. I did that 10 years ago. I lost a lot of weight, I shaved my head, and grew a goatee. Did that 10 years ago. So I'm not midlifing. What I actually wanted to do this year is I wanted to enjoy a little bit of freedom. Got it, baby. So I wanted to enjoy some freedom. I didn't want to use the freedoms that I previously had because I've been using them. I wanted to expand to some new things. So the things that I did this summer, I remember back the first time that I went shooting. First time I went shooting, I did shoot a Smith & Wesson Model 617. I remember the weight of the gun. I remember the feel of the recoil and the smell of the burnt gunpowder. And I gotta tell you, it was completely exhilarating. When I did this, I thought to myself, oh my God, does anyone else know about this? I think I could quit drinking to do this. I mean, not forever, but for a little while. So I thought this was great. I wanted to experience a couple of new freedoms. So this summer, I learned a couple of new platforms. And this is me in my old platform. This is the world famous Mr. Cook. I've been a band teacher for over 25 years. There's a process to everything that we do. And kids say to me, well, when are we going to play cool songs? And I say, when are you going to learn to put your fingers on the right keys? There's a process. Like, you can't get a sound on an instrument, and you don't know which way to hold the instrument the right way. Let's do that before we start to play cool songs. So there's a process for everything. I remember when I went out to the Front Sight Academy when I was a new gun owner in 2004. I didn't know about Gun Sight. I didn't know about all the other cool places. I ended up going to the Front Sight Academy. They taught you a 5-step process to drawing a gun out of a holster. And they eventually said something that I told my students. I tell my students that if they want to play a music instrument quickly, that the secret to playing fast is to practice slow. So you go out to a gun store, a gun academy, the gun school, and what do we say? We say slow is smooth, and smooth is fast. And I say, wait a second. I've been teaching this to kids for a long time. If I can teach band instruments to kids, I can become a gun instructor as well, because there's a process to everything. The two platforms that I worked on this summer are learning to ride a motorcycle and doing stand-up comedy. Now, I got some friends that are motorcycle enthusiasts. One of my friends, he has a cache of motorcycles. He only has 22 motorcycles. The other gentleman has 7 motorcycles, and we actually found out all of his bikes are Harleys. We found out he has a Harley dirt bike, and those are not made in America. Those are made in Italy. Don't tell anyone. So my friends took me out. They're like, hey, you got to learn to ride a motorcycle. And I said, yeah, riding a motorcycle, man, seems a little dangerous, seems a little scary. People hurt themselves on motorcycles. Probably the same stuff that we've heard from people when we want to take them shoot. So it's been a couple of years. One of my buddies took me out. We went to a private club. He gave me one of his old motorcycles to use. He explained everything, and here's the clutch, here's the brake, here's the other brake, here's 1 down and 4 up, and all this sort of stuff. And it was a whole new process for me. And I gotta tell you, I loved it. I was doing 10 miles an hour. My buddy's granddaughter was passing me, and I'm like, oh man, I love this. This is a new level of freedom for me. 10 miles an hour is all I was doing. Boy, this is exactly what I felt like. I felt like Kid Rock, but I looked like Charlie Cook. Nothing on that says Kid Rock at all, let me tell you.
So we talked about this. We talked about there being a process in order for me to learn how to ride a motorcycle. Part of the process was getting out and getting on the bike and riding in circles and going slow. Part of the process was to get my permit. The process for the permit, okay, so all right, I can do this, and it's like you get your permit, I'll let you ride one of my motorcycles, you'll buy one of your own, it'll be great. I downloaded the motorcycle riding manual as a PDF online, and a week later, I went to go get my license. Now, you went into the DMV recently? Exactly. So I went in and I found out that I needed a birth certificate. I don't have a birth certificate. I mean, I have one, I don't know where it is. There was a process to get my birth certificate. So a week later, I got a birth certificate, and then I started the process again. I went back to the RMV for the second time. Let's see, here I am the first time when I found out that I needed a birth certificate. So the second time I went, I had a birth certificate. I wasn't worked up about this because they barely looked at my notarized birth certificate. I was worked up about it because I flunked the test. I was a little upset with myself because I didn't know what the process was to register a motorcycle from out of state. And I didn't know what the process was or I didn't know how long it is that you could ride, and there were times that you couldn't ride. And I couldn't remember that drinking a 12-ounce beer, having 4 ounces of wine, or having a 1 shot of hard liquor increases your blood alcohol content by 0.02%. And this is why I ended up failing the test. So I was a little worked up. So I go home, and guess what I did? I read the book this time. I read the book, I did the online tests, and then guess what? Yeah, baby, I passed. I was excited to have my permit. This was great, this was awesome. So my buddy took me out again. We went out riding a little bit more. We've been on the street. I did have to spend $50 to purchase a helmet. To purchase a set of gloves. We went to the Boston Harley-Davidson dealer and got some $50 Harley gloves. Then I had to spend $160 on a helmet. I'm like, man, this is a costly habit, right? This is expensive. How do people afford to ride motorcycles? But I took the time to do it, and it was a lot of fun. We did end up going out a couple of times, riding on the road, and trying to keep up with my buddies was a little tricky. It was nice. I had one guy riding in front of me and one guy riding behind me. And it was reassuring. It was reassuring that my buddies were there, and they're like, well, if you don't get the turn signals, that's okay, because there's no lights on this motorcycle. This motorcycle's been around like as long as I've been, and doesn't have lights on it. But it was fun. There was a whole process to it, and I enjoyed the process. The other thing that I did this summer is I went out and I did some stand-up comedy. Now, part of the process with this is, back in 2012, I took a comedy writing course, and I had to do 5 minutes to graduate the class. In 2014, I connected with a woman, and she said she wanted to do stand-up comedy. I said, I know someone who does this. So I contacted my instructor, and I said, hey, are you still doing open mic nights? And she's like, yeah, come on down. You're real funny. Come on out. So we went. My friend wasn't as committed as I was, so she didn't do it. In 2015, I spent 3 or 4 months going to open mic nights at a comedy place in Boston, and I remember seeing one comedian that would tell these jokes and they wouldn't go over very well. And then the next time I would see him, he would tell them again, and he would tweak them a little bit. He would change them a little bit. He would smooth them out and make them a little bit funnier. And he would work on the aspects of comedy. You guys know what the most important aspect of comedy is? Ask me, what's the most important aspect of comedy? Timing. Yeah. Timing's important. You gotta learn how to work all this stuff out. So sometimes you have to wonder, is it a tough crowd or is it just bad material? Well, this past winter, I went to another comedy place with a friend of mine, and she said, hey, I want to get into this. I want to do this. I said, cool, let's do it. You don't have the guts. I don't have the guts. Let's go. So we went. Right? We went to a little comedy place, to the open mic nights, and the comedians were up there were horrible. They sucked. And I said, you know what? I can suck just as bad as they do. Absolutely. This guy's not funny. I can be not funny too. So I went home and I started working on some material, and I don't just want to stand up in there and tell old, stupid, bad jokes. I wanted some real life material. So I made up jokes about my ex-wife and my kids. And it went over pretty well, and it was pretty fun, and it was nice. It was good. But there was a process to all of this. I did go out and videotape myself, and I did put these on some YouTube channels, and And it was all a process, and I would tell some of the same jokes, and sometimes they would go over well, and sometimes they wouldn't go over well, because there's a whole process to this whole thing. This is what I want to talk about. Now, I did not call myself by my real name. I called myself Freeman. And I have two middle names, and Freeman is one of them. So that's what I decided to go by. I didn't want anyone looking at Charlie Cook, because I knew what they would find, and they would find videos of me shooting guns and playing trumpets at the same time and interviewing people, and not that I didn't want them to see it, I don't really care, but I just didn't want too many of my worlds to collide at the same time. So the first time that you go out and do something, doesn't matter what it is, guess what? You suck. You completely suck. I've been teaching band kids for 25 years. They all sucked when they started. They all did. The first time you went shooting, you sucked as well. The first time you learned how to drive, you sucked. The first time you cooked, you sucked. It sucked. I still, look, cook is my name, not my job. I make pasta, usually. I try not to burn it. Okay? So every time you do something, you suck, but you enjoy it, and there's a process to it. And you have to learn what that process is, and you have to get through that process. When you are writing a blog, or when you are making a video, or when you are doing a podcast, put it out there. Doesn't matter that it sucks, because the content that you put out that sucks is better than the perfect content that you did not put out. So put it out there, and now is the time for you to put that content out. When I had the idea for writing Shotgun with Charlie, it was one of these things that came to me, and I'm like, hey, that looks pretty cool. How can I do this? I learned how to make gun-gram videos on my iPhone. They've been watched about 20 million times. It's not John Korea stuff, not at all, but my stuff's been watched about 20 million times all over the world. They've been watched on every continent except Antarctica. So if you know someone who's stationed in Antarctica, please come up and talk to me. I want to get a video of one person on Antarctica saying they watched the video there. Then I can show my kids that my stuff's all over the world, right? So I learned how to edit video on my iPhone, and that's how it all started out. But then what I did is this. I started to watch carpool karaoke. I'm like, man, that looks like fun. James Corden is not funny. He's chubby in English. I'm chubby. I speak English. I can do this show. This is easy, right? You just get people in the car, you hang out with the rock stars in your field, and then all of a sudden you have something to offer these people, you can hang out with them. I wanted to become a mover and shaker. So I started watching carpool karaoke. I don't know how to make videos. What I did was this. I went to Craigslist, and I found a couple of used GoPro cameras and a couple of window mounts, suction cup window mounts. No idea how to make videos, no idea how to take them from the camera to my laptop. There was a process. I had to get that little adapter to stick in there because it didn't quite fit. So there was a process for this. Then after that, I downloaded the GoPro software, and I didn't know how to work that. I was going from one video to the other video, but I didn't learn that, or I didn't know that there was a way you could synchronize the videos and put the videos together. So I'm literally slicing, ending one video, and copying it and pasting it. It was a whole process. It was a big pain in the neck. It took me over 5 hours to do my first 30-minute. My mentor was like, yeah, there's got to be an easier way. I'm like, I don't know what it is. What I'm doing is I talked to someone else that made some videos. Adobe Premiere. I just
speaks louder than words. So, hey guys, welcome to the art of actively listening. My name is Shelley Hill, and about 16 years ago, my husband dubbed me the indispensable organizational wizard. Lots to live up to. We are the complete combatant and fusion fitness and mixed martial arts, and we are out of Metro Atlanta. We are the complete host the and fusion fitness and mixed martial arts, and we are out of Metro Atlanta. We host the Mingle each year in May. This is a weekend event that is dedicated to continuing education through firearms training and seminars, for ladies in the firearms industry. I'd like to actually take a moment here because as I look around here, I see sponsors that have given us funds, sponsors that have given us door prizes. I've seen people who have attended and people who have given us stuff for swag bags. Would everybody raise their hand that has actually been a part of the Mingle for the 4 years? Because I see tons. Thank you, Robin. Tons. It shows you how small. Yes, everything else. So that's pretty. We've got 2 people raised their hands, so thank you. I'd also like to recognize Tiffany in Arizona, and we've got a few people raised their hands, so thank you. Tiffany also like to recognize what she speaks about and her influence. She's one of the most respected people in the community, and she has agreed to be our guest speaker and our guest instructor for 2020 at the Mingle. So thank you. Right on. Right on. I am also the co-founder of a nonprofit organization called Rachel's Rest, and Rachel's Rest is a charity that treats abused children and their families. We provide critical and long-term counseling. I'm in charge of marketing, admin, fundraising, social media. Keep going for all 3 of those that I just mentioned. This is the 2nd year that I've been invited to speak, and I'm very honored to be here. So thank you guys for having me again. I also want to recognize John and the app crew that are over there. Cover your app. Heckling. John and I have been friends for several years, and they mentioned the YouTube social media group that they have, and John runs and helps and so on and so forth. I remember a year ago when I was writing my What's in Your Toolbox 2018. John and I spent many hours, many minutes on the phone or online helping me through this. So I wanted to say thank you because now you're sitting in the audience for my 2nd year. So thank you, John. Okay, cool beans. So last year, What's in Your Toolbox, we talked about how to make new contacts. Last year, What's in Your Toolbox, we talked about how to make new contacts by adding educate, confidence, positive energy, and bravery to your toolbox. This year, it's the art of actively listening. So, the definition. Actively listening requires the listener to fully concentrate, understand, respond, and then remember what is being said. You have to make a conscious effort to hear and understand the complete message being spoken rather than just passively hearing the message of the speaker. That's the actual definition. I probably lost half of you guys just with the definition. It's very hard to actively listen. I can't honestly think of any formal training, and I mean formal training, that is required, and once again, that's required, from the time that we enter daycare, go up 12th grade, and even in college, where it is required to focus on developing relationships and how to actively listen. That's a tragedy, because absolutely everything we do, we interact with, and this impacts our relationships. So, these days, text, email, basically the written word, is one of the main avenues of human interaction right now. With this type of communication, it takes time for you to process. And you can take as much time as you need to process what you've just read. You can skim over it. You can make a decision if you want to respond now or do you want to respond later. You've gotten used to that. It's very convenient. But wait, what about when you're speaking to somebody in person? You don't have the luxury while you're on the phone or you're face to face to say, oh, hold on, I'm just going to skim over what you just talked about and I'll get back to you later. We don't have that luxury. So, actively listening, many benefits. Tiffany and that crew up here I was actually in tears at one point with Lara and with everybody else. And Annette, because you touched on something, I was like, yes, now, I don't even need to come up here. It was just perfect. So, some value. It is super important, at least this is one of the main things, but here are just a few. Super important. Actively listening saves time and money. Effective listening not only reduces the risks of misunderstanding and mistakes, but it saves time and money by having to start that project over again. It builds deep trust. Actively listening generates respect and trust between speaker and listener because they realize that you care enough to listen to them attentively. It also builds deep trust if you can repeat their own words back to them, either in that moment or afterwards. There is no greater compliment than remembering a person's name. It broadens your perspective. Here it is. Here it is, ladies. Listening to other people's perspectives allows you to look at life from different angles that maybe you've never thought of before. So there's growth. It increases your competence and knowledge. The more information and knowledge you receive, the more efficient and successful you can become. This helps with your ability to influence, persuade, and negotiate. And this last one, it makes you approachable. As you present yourself as a patient listener, people feel more naturally inclined to communicate with you. Guys, this is Ammcon. You're here. Your whole life is media, getting your ideas across. You want to be heard. So let's start by listening, because when you listen to another person well and they feel truly heard, there's a very high chance that they'll listen to you when it's your turn to speak. So now we're going to do our second exercise. This one's called Your Name. You will need a pen and a piece of paper, so that tablet that's in front of you would work great. Got it? All right, once again, no talking. Okay, so we're going to start, once again, this is called Your Name Drill. So, draw a circle. Draw a triangle within that circle. Draw a square in the corner. Draw a square in the corner. Feel like we're going to bingo, right? Print your name on the piece of paper. Cool. I'd like everyone to show their neighbor what they have. Excellent. I can't see it from here, so show your neighbor. If you guys can see mine, why doesn't yours look like mine? Why is your circle smaller?
Everybody's different.
Good. Didn't I say put your square in the corner? Why doesn't everyone look like mine?
we look at things differently.
Mine's in the top corner.
Got it. Got it. John, does yours look like mine?
No, ma'am.
Why?
Because the directions allowed enough leeway for me to do my own dang thing.
Beth, show me yours. Okay, why does yours not look like mine?
Because that was my interpretation of what you were saying.
That's exactly it. So, this is an important drill here because I wanted yours to look like mine. But obviously I didn't use the right words, right? I didn't tell you exactly what I wanted. So now it's turned around. I'm going to actively listen to you, and I'm going to implement some of the things that you just said to me and see if we can get all on the same page. I would not have wasted the last 3 minutes of our valuable time if I would have done this right the first time. So guys, do over. Yeah, flip your paper around. I don't care how you do it. Get another one. So I'm going to actively listen to what you guys just talked about. So now listen to me. I'd like for you to draw a 4-inch circle in diameter in the center of your paper. I would like for you to draw a triangle in the center of that circle with all 3 corners touching the inside of that circle. I would like for you to draw a 1-inch square in the bottom left corner of your paper. And now the kicker. I would like for you to print, hold on, in capital letters, your name spelled Y-O-U-R-N-A-M-E.
Where?
That won't be, oh, no kidding. That one's going to be in the bottom right side of the paper. Sorry, I got really excited there. So, if everyone holds up their paper now, the results should pretty much be the same. So I listened to your suggestions, and now we're all on the same page. So, pretty close. Yeah, it doesn't have to be, but a lot closer than we were, because everybody printed their name, at least I assume they did. I can't quite see it from here. So, here are a few points to develop your active listening skills. Pay attention. Look at the speaker directly. Put aside those distracting thoughts, and touched on it again. Don't mentally prepare a rebuttal. It's their time. You're listening. To show that you're listening, nod occasionally. Smile. Make sure, if you're trying to be an active listener, that your body posture is open, that you're inviting, okay? Encourage the speaker to continue to talk with small verbal yes or uh-huh. That makes the speaker know that you're at least engaged.
Preach.
Preach. Provide feedback. Our personal filters, assumptions, judgments, and beliefs can distort what we hear. As a listener, your role is to understand what is being said. And this may require you to either A, keep your mouth shut, reflect, ask questions, and even give feedback. It's always important when you're doing this, guys, to always be yourself. Interrupting, talking in the back, stuff like that, it frustrates the speaker and it limits the full understanding of the message. Last one. Respond appropriately. Be respectful, be candid, be open, be honest. Never give up who you are, but it's okay that they have a different perspective on life than you do. It's okay. You're going to learn a lot of stuff. So, it takes a lot of concentration, and determination to be an active listener. Old habits are very hard to break, and you're actually going to have to practice these, guys. I practice it all the time. I practice on communication, so on and so forth, being positive. So it's a part of it. Let's do another listening drill. Yep. This one is where note-taking may have been a little helpful. This is actually a quiz. I'm going to ask 3 questions to see if you were listening. Use whatever piece of paper, I could care less. You're just going to write down your answers. Okay. What tools did we add to last year's What's in Your Toolbox? I said that at the beginning. Yes, you did. If you get just one of them, I'd be happy. Okay, next one. I host a weekend event for ladies in the firearms industry. What is this called? Oh, write it down. Don't give anybody the answers. What's wrong with you people? Okay. What was the name of the second listening drill that we did? I'll let you cheat. Should be on your piece of paper. Something in the corner. All right. Guys, honestly, I'm not even going to look at the answers. It makes no difference. You cannot actively listen for 20 minutes. There is absolutely no way. If you got one question right, that would be absolutely awesome. They talk about the amount of information you retain that is not over and over and over and over again. Guys, seriously, if you got one thing right, I would be super happy with that because at least something stuck. So, active listening. It's an important social skill that has value in a variety of settings. Practice this skill often and it will become easier for you. I promise, guys, it's worth it, but I'm telling you, you're going to have to put the time in. I have found that great listeners have better self-esteem and a better self-image because in their listening, they work towards establishing positive relationships. Who was here last year? You guys raise your hands for me. Excellent. Referring back to Tiffany, we were sitting there just a second ago, and Tiffany said something about me always smiling, always being energetic, that type of thing. How do I do that? And I'm like, well, I make a choice to do that. I learn more. People are more welcoming. I want to talk to people. I want to hug people because there's such a language of that I feel like it's missing. But also because I said positive energy is like a boomerang. And I just wrote that and then I went ... So here we go. Remember what I said last year about adding positive energy to your toolbox. You contribute energy, good or bad, to everything you associate yourself with. That means your social media, workplace, friends, family, strangers, everything. So you need to make a goal to represent yourself, your company, your values, your goals, whatever, with a good attitude, because energy is like a boomerang. It will always return to the thrower. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this and learned something. If you would like any of the notes that, of mine or whatever, please feel free to email me. We are the Complete Combatant, and it's thecompletecombatant@gmail.com, and just say, hey, those list of things, let me know. I'll just send you the whole notes. It's absolutely no big deal, so I can take care of that. And I think Did you? Yeah, Cheryl asked me to. Cool. Sure. It's the THE complete COMPLETE combatant COMBATANT @gmail.com. Got it? Cool beans. Yeah, right. You'll find me on Facebook. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Okay, well, it is almost officially lunchtime, but since we have an extra 2 minutes, I'm gonna use those for social media purposes. It's gonna be a fun little thing. This is Shelley's own invention, and it requires us all to stand up. It requires us all to come. Wait, hold on.
It's the last listening drill.
That was my fault. I didn't actively tell that you were actively listening.
Some of us can't stand.
Some of us can't. This is true. This is true. We'll stick in. You can still participate. All right. So, very quickly, we're going to do a quick experiment. I'm going to film it, and it's going to end up on the internet. So that doesn't scare you. Here you go. All right, guys. This is the last actively listening drill. Cheryl, you're up here, but you're going to film whatever. Of course, I need Amanda. I need Paul. If Paul's in here. Paul's gone. Okay, is Susan in here? Nope. Okay, so it'd be us. Excellent. Oh, Susan, are you interested in coming up, my darling? She is hiding, but sometimes I can get her up here.
Susan.
Oh, she's doing it.
Almost managed.
You come on.
I was doing my great woman thing in the back.
I know you were. Okay. Some of you guys were here last year and already know that my closing is a little bit odd, and I'm okay with that. We are going to close this presentation and then go off to lunch, but we're going to close the presentation with the wave. The wave. You're actually going to do that, people. So, the wave. Let me tell you what it symbolizes. The wave symbolizes a show of appreciation. I appreciate you listening, and of course we appreciate Ammcon for having us all here, right? Education. The wave represents unity. We're united. We stand here together to support the Second Amendment. The wave represents amusement, and it just amuses the hell out of me, so I'm going to do it. It just kills me. Okay, so where the active listening drill comes in is that if you're not familiar with the wave, we're going to start on that side of the room, as far over to that wall. There you go. And we will move this way. It will come back up to the front. We'll start it, of course. It'll go through, and then we're going to do it again. And the kicker is, if you can, I'd like for you to stand up, and we're going to do the wave correctly, and you're going to put your hands in the air, and you're going to woo. Look at everybody like that. I hate this girl. You're going to do it. Woo! That's what we're going to do. So, any questions? I'm listening. No? All right, let's do it. We're going to start it. 1, 2, 3. Woo! People do that. Tell me that didn't feel good. That felt good. All right. Your appetites are whetted. You had your exercise. It was unintentional leg day. The lunches are at the back. You can eat in here. Just be sure wherever you go with your lunches to be back in your seats sharply at 12:45.